Thank you, Effy, for coming through to my studio.
Thank you for having me.
I just have been trying to explore and dive into the minds of creatives, not only in the scene of Minneapolis, but people I work with and people that I'm so blessed to call friends. So that's why I have you here to ask these questions and get into the mind of Effy.
Thank you. I mean, I'm usually like really awkward and shy, so I think I'll get through it today, but I'm really excited to talk about this because I feel like I never really like do interviews or like talk to people about my creative process or the things that I create. I just kind of make shit and I just put it out there, and that's that.
And I promise this will be quick, straight to the point, but we're going to find out so much in these couple of questions. So the first one I have for you is, as a Black female director, what was that first source of inspiration and what kind of motivates you to this day to do what you do and pursue what is film, music videos, TV, ads, everything?
Oh yeah, I did some ads this last year. I did some ads, which was like a huge accomplishment. I think for me, I'm motivated by the fact that, like, one, I never really saw a lot of people that look like me doing what I do. I would only see them, like, you know, on TV. Like, I looked up to the Ava DuVernays, the Issa Rae, Childs, Meji Alabi. Like, there's so many other directors that I looked up to. But I think that having seen that made me feel like, you know, my ideas and my visions were valid. But, you know, there's still not many people that look like me doing this here, especially like in the Midwest. So yeah, I think that's like a big motivator for me, is like being that visual representation for somebody else, and also just like creating the shit that comes to mind. Because for me, it's like, if I don't make things, like, I don't feel good. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but do you feel the same way when you're not creating? Like, it's just kind of like you feel like... I
do feel the same way.
You feel like it's like idle energy that's like sitting in you, and it just sometimes feels really odd, and you just have to make something. So for me, I guess it's also survival and just like loving the art. So yeah.
And you've been able to do such a great job at it, and I'm proud to call you one of the best creators, visionaries, not only in this like 50-mile radius, but like, you know, across the globe. You know, I think anyone who sees your art and sees your visual representations of your story and the stories that you're helping artists tell and brands, etc., it's so amazing to see. With that said, what excites you about Minneapolis and Minnesota, and what kind of keeps you here doing what you do?
Well, I mean, for me, what keeps me here is the fact that I know that I could always travel to any project, any gig, any place. And I think that the internet has made us all so universally accessible, to the point where if somebody wants to work with me, it's literally just an email away, a DM away, and then we'll figure it out and start, you know, crafting an idea. I do think that for me, being here, the more I've stayed, the more I feel like it's important to have, you know, creatives remain. Because I feel like everybody's always looking to leave, especially like if you're from Minneapolis. Everybody's always like, I need to go to like LA, or I need to go to New York. And I'm not saying don't do that. And I'm also somebody who is still looking to branch outside of the Midwest and, you know, plant my roots elsewhere as well at some point. But I think that before I do that, or before I leave, like, there's a certain level of impact that I think is important for us to all feel like, what is the word I'm looking for? Like almost like a responsibility in a way, because
it's like you're carrying a torch.
Yeah. It's like you're carrying a torch to amplify other people's voices that are here. So it's like, with my work, I'm also promoting other artists in Minneapolis, you know, or, you know, God willingly, like one day I'm gonna be able to get like a large studio feature film to come and shoot here and work with people that I've worked with for a long time, and to bring that type of work here to my community. I think it's very important to be able to develop the type of space that, and the type of soil that you wish that you grew in, because I think that for a long time we all would be like, damn, like I wish that there was more access in Minneapolis. I wish there was more people looking to see how talented people do exist here and do create here and do live here. And I think it's up to us to be able to actually develop and nurture that, and to actually like enrich the soil that like we've grown in for the next generation, and hopefully like, you know, they could do the same thing.
And I think that's definitely happening, whether it's like you're going to a show and you see familiar faces like not only on the stage but in the crowd, and there's like the cultivation of not only support and collaboration going on across mediums, across genres. But what has been kind of the hardest part, I would say, is like just keeping that kind of going. And like you see all these other great things happening, like in great music, great art coming from all these other places, like the LAs, the Atlantas, the Europes of the world. But it's always like a reminder, like, dang, how do we do that here? Like,
yeah, because they're doing something right. Like they're choosing to focus on their own. And I think that like, if you look at like big cities that have been able to do that, where people like rep their city with their chest, like, you know, like the LAs, the New Yorks, the Londons, like people have really like focused on developing their home. And I think it's important for us to do the same thing. Instead of seeking to go outwards, I think we need to go inwards.
Double down. We've made some pretty good music videos.
We've made some gas, I would say.
I think Try, Tennessee, and now soon to be released Lee Scratch Perry. Looking back
then another one.
And then another one. And then another one. Looking back on that, it's definitely been so many little highlights along the way. Definitely also a lot of grinding to make it happen. I think we shot on like a very cold day in February.
That was our first video. It was cold as hell outside.
Yeah, but we got the troops, we got the whole squad, the whole family out to be in that. And then, you know, like Tennessee, you know, cultivate a little love from that music video. But I would love to hear from you. What are some highlights from these processes? What have you learned? What have been like the things that you say and that you remember that were just like, wow, we really made this happen? And what are the things, like looking back on it, was like, that was kind of a grind, like.
Damn. I mean, I will say, like, one thing that's always hard to work with, especially with, like, you know, like you're an artist that's growing and developing, and you're cultivating your audience, as we all are. We don't always have all the resources. So it's like trying to find who's willing to do something or help you out with something, and like, you know, getting favors. Like, I'm really grateful to the people who are always willing to like help us out with our ideas and our projects, because like, damn, it really is just like a labor of love. I wouldn't say there's anything that I've learned other than the things that I already know. Like, work with people that believe in your ideas. I think that's important, because first of all, it's not like I mean, with music videos, especially like locally, it's not like, you know, people are getting paid like $2,000 for a job or something, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people are just like, I really like this idea. This is really cool. This is visually inspiring, because, you know, the Midwest is like a very commercial town. Like, you know, when you have crew that works here, it's a lot of like ad work, and like, you know, it may not be the most exciting, but it's like, if you have a music video that's really visually intriguing or has like a really cool narrative arc, people are always willing to pitch in and help and work on something, because people want to have cool shit on their reel. And so I'm really grateful for the people that are my collaborators, and would not be able to do it without them. You know, the Chris's, the Allens, you know, all the homies that have been there to like work on the Jessicas, the Robs, everybody that's like there to help us out. Justin, you know, the Charles, like, you know, it's a long list of friends that are there to help you create this. So it's like, you know, one thing that I will always remember is the tribe that I've created, like, you know, my best work with, because I will say my best work is with my friends, for sure. Yeah. I forgot the rest of the question, though. I'm not gonna lie.
The rest of the question, maybe can you pick some specific highlights, like just maybe video by video, just like what's a highlight from each one?
Oh, one highlight. Okay, I'll go down the list. Like, try. A highlight that I liked is that the location scouting was so much fun. Like, me and my friend Jessica, who's a producer, we like went around and just like looked for all these locations. And I remember we went to this parking garage and we drove up the parking garage, and then we saw where we were gonna shoot the scene with everybody, right? Mm-hmm. And then we're driving down. That's when the whole performance shot down the like spiral of the drive down came to me, and I was like, this is where it is. And I think it's like those serendipitous moments that like, if it strikes you, just like act on it, and you know that like that's it, you know? So that was one part that I loved about it. And also the fact that, you know, we got to play with a lot of texture. We shot on film. We did some film photography. We shot digitally. That was a really fun aspect that I enjoyed about it. Yeah. 100%. And then, Tennessee. That shit was just fun. There was an idea that I had for it, though, that we didn't get to accomplish, like the coffin idea.
Oh,
do you remember that?
Yes, I do remember that. And wasn't there going to be like a glass
coffin?
Me?
Yeah.
She was going to bury me at the end.
Basically bury him, yeah. And then like we switched to the POV of like the camera being him, and you see the dirt like going over the coffin and shit. But like we weren't able to do that, but we were still able to spin the narrative in a way where it still, like, you know, still remained true to the ethos of like, you know, you had her fucked up. She's going to kill you now type shit. So that was one thing that I loved about that, is the story that we had. Yeah.
And then I think we can talk about Lee Scratch Perry.
Lee Scratch Perry. I like the simplicity of it. At first I thought it would be a challenge, but I like the simplicity of it because we were able to focus a lot on just like the composition of the shots, adding, you know, a few rotoscope things, like where there's a shot where we have Moise playing basketball in the background while he's also sitting in the middle of the court performing, which is really cool. And I also kind of like the aspect where it just shows like the community aspect of basketball. Like I'm not gonna lie, I had to learn a lot, so I was asking my boyfriend questions.
Yeah, we had to coach you a little bit. I think you even had me coaching them, like directing like the crew and the players on, you know, pick and roll here or lob it here.
Yeah. Cause I'm telling y'all, I didn't know. I had no idea. Me don't know. So it was really fun to like, you know, learn that side of things, learn something new, because it's a sport that I never played, even though I was constantly harassed in a predominantly white school to play. So that was what I really, really, really enjoyed about it. So I'm excited for y'all to see Lee Scratch Perry. Mm-hmm. I hope y'all love it as much as we loved creating it.
Yes. Okay. I got one more question.
Yeah.
But this is like my favorite question to even just like when I get asked it.
Yeah.
I always say something different every time. So if instead of it being me across from you and it was younger Effy, what would you tell this young, strong, independent black woman or black girl that's aspiring to tell her story and figure out what her calling is and figure out you know, the vision that you've now been able to execute on? Like, what's the messages what would you tell her to like reassure her, or even just be like, you got this?
Yeah, that's a loaded question. I think there's a lot that we would tell, like, you know, our younger selves. I would definitely say take all those risks even sooner than you think that you're ready. I'll say that for sure. Because I did wait a while until I felt like, okay, like I could carry the torch to like fully jump into directing, because I didn't go to school for this shit. So I was just like, I spent a few years learning. I spent a few years producing, you know, which I still do, and I appreciate those experiences. But, you know, I would tell myself, you know, jump the gun, jump over the cliff, the net will appear, and you'll be fine. Another thing, what else would I say? I wish that I listened to my intuition a lot sooner when I was a kid, because I feel like I was very sure of myself. But I think it's the worries of, you know, our immigrant parents, or just like, you know, our upbringing, that like even though you knew what your purpose was, people would be like, how are you going to survive doing that? How are you going to make a living doing that? Or how are you going to do that? Period.
Can't even fathom.
Yeah. Couldn't even understand that, like, you could make a living from a passion or a craft or which is your purpose. I would definitely say listen to yourself and block out the noise a lot sooner. It took a minute for me to get there, but we got there.
Did get there. Still going there.
Yeah.
No, that was a brilliant answer. And then to anyone else out there who is looking to go down this path, whether they're here in the city or just happen to randomly come across this video, what would you say to them? Or advice, just advice.
Okay, so one, I would say, if you feel like doing it, do it, because it's not just you wanting to do it, it's God telling you to do it. Two, I would say find your people. To create anything, it takes a collective effort. To make a good song, you need a producer, you need a vocalist, you need someone to mix a track. To make a good film, you need a DP, you need a director, you need a producer, you need a cast. So it's like, find your people who see the vision, who have dreams of their own as well, and feed each other, support each other. I think that's very important, because I've been able to find that, luckily. And if you have that dream, you're gonna find those people. Those people will just come to you. So yeah, find your people. Well and said. Yeah, just do it. Not like Nike, but just take a chance at it. Your first project is never gonna be your best project. I look at my first music video and people will be like, oh wow, that was so good, and I'm like, bro, I'm like, thanks. It's not bad, but it's to see how far I've come and how much I've grown, it's like night and day. So yeah,
that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for stopping by. We're gonna make some pasta now.
Yeah, we're gonna go make pasta because we're hungry.
Yes, thank you for coming by and chopping it up.
Of course. Thank you, Moise. Thanks, y'all. This was fun. I'm usually very awkward, but
You did well.
I think I did okay. This was fun.